Welcome back, Royal Sussex Squad. It's always good to have our global family tuned in, the ones who see through the noise, the ones who stand for truth, dignity and justice for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. We don't follow the spin, we follow the receipts. And today, family, the receipts are piling high once again. Because here we are, watching the British legal system twist and turn itself inside out just to protect the very people and institutions that have enabled decades of media corruption. And right at the centre of it, Prince Harry, still fighting for truth, still fighting for accountability, still showing more courage than the entire establishment combined. Now, if you haven't heard the latest, buckle up, because this one is deep. A shocking revelation came out during Prince Harry's ongoing court battle against Associated Newspapers. That's the publisher of the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday. The same tabloids that have spent years smearing Harry and Meghan, publishing lies and invading their privacy. Harry's not alone in this fight. He's joined by other high-profile figures like Sir Elton John, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Liz Hurley and others. Together they're suing the publisher for alleged unlawful activities, phone hacking, surveillance, blagging and deception. But the latest twist in this case has taken things to another level, because Harry's legal team tried to include a new claim that Princess Kate's phone may have been hacked by a private investigator working for the Daily Mail. Yes, you heard that right. Princess Kate herself, the so-called untouchable royal darling of the British press. Her phone targeted by the same newspaper empire that pretends to worship her. You would think that such an explosive revelation would make headlines across every paper, that the court would want to know how deep this corruption goes. But no. Instead, the judge blocked it, just like that. In his ruling, the judge, Mr. Justice Nicklin, said that if the claim was added, it would open up a significant new area of investigation for Associated Newspapers, and that it was too late given how close the trial date is. Too late? Really? Since when is it too late to expose the truth? When it comes to Harry and Meghan, the British media never seems to think it's too late to rehash old lies, to rewrite history, or to invent new scandals out of thin air. But when it's time to expose their own wrongdoing, suddenly the clock stops. What's even more telling is that this wasn't some random rumour. The evidence reportedly came from an investigator's record, showing that a journalist allegedly commissioned him to carry out a mobile phone conversion related to Kate, and that same record included a list of family and friends' contact numbers. Think about what that means. If Kate's phone was being targeted, there's every chance that Harry, Meghan and William could have been caught in that same web of hacking and intrusion. But we'll never know, not yet at least, because the court won't allow it to be part of the case. Once again, the system is bending over backward to protect the same machinery of deceit that has tormented people for decades. Now, let's be real. The British tabloids have been running wild for years, acting like the law doesn't apply to them. We've seen this story before, from the news of the world scandal to the endless stream of anonymous sources feeding lies to the press. But this case is different, because this time Harry is standing up and saying no more. He's dragging them into the light. He's forcing them to answer for what they've done. And notice the pattern, family. Every time Harry gets close to real accountability, suddenly the goalposts move. Suddenly evidence is blocked. Suddenly the press and their allies play the victim. They call his claims lurid and preposterous. But that's exactly what they said years ago about phone hacking. until it was proven beyond doubt that it was happening. The same tactics, the same denials, the same hypocrisy. What's really interesting here is how the British establishment reacts. When Harry and Meghan speak out about press abuse, they're branded as complainers. When they talk about mental health, they're accused of playing the victim. When they seek privacy, they're told they can't have it because they're public figures. But when a story breaks that could potentially expose how the press targeted another senior royal, Kate, suddenly it's silence. Suddenly the system closes ranks. It's always the same playbook. Protect the image of the institution at all costs, even if it means covering up the truth. Because, let's face it, if the British public were to realise that even the so-called perfect princess wasn't safe from the press, it would shatter the illusion that Harry and Meghan were somehow exaggerating. It would prove that the British media are equal opportunity predators, driven by money, not morality. And that's the last thing they want. The establishment cannot afford for people to realise that Harry was right all along, that the royal family's deal with the devil, their cosy relationship with the tabloids, has cost them not just their integrity, but their humanity. Let's not forget, Prince Harry has been clear from day one that this fight isn't just about him. It's about accountability. It's about exposing how corruption and media abuse have destroyed lives. He's not suing for a quick payday. He's doing it to stop this cycle once and for all. He's doing it so no one else, not Meghan, not his children, not anyone, has to go through what he went through. But every time Harry gets closer to uncovering the full truth, we see the machine shift gears. Judges narrowing the scope, lawyers playing semantics, the Mail spinning propaganda, and the palace pretending not to notice. It's like watching a play where everyone knows the ending, but no one wants to admit it out loud. And what about this idea that it's too late to add new claims? That argument doesn't pass the smell test. This isn't some minor administrative hiccup. We're talking about potential criminal activity by journalists. The timing shouldn't matter when justice is at stake, but the reality is the closer you get to exposing powerful people, the harder the system pushes back. Let's be clear here. The British press didn't just cross ethical lines, they bulldozed them. They hacked phones, stole records, bribed insiders and destroyed reputations, and did it all while claiming to represent the public interest. And for years the establishment has let them get away with it, because those same papers are the ones they rely on to protect their image. That's why Harry and Meghan had to walk away. They saw it from the inside. They lived it. They watched how lies were printed and amplified, how stories were planted to pit them against the rest of the family, how silence from the palace was weaponized against them. And through it all, the same media that destroyed Diana's life kept pretending to be the guardian of royal tradition. But Harry is breaking that cycle. He's not afraid to call out corruption, no matter how high it goes. And that's exactly why they hate him. Because he's not playing the game. He's not bowing to the same system that thrives on secrecy and spin. He's using his platform and his privilege to expose the truth. And that's what this entire case represents. The fight for transparency in a country that loves to preach about fairness while hiding its own hypocrisy. You can almost feel the panic in the British media every time new evidence surfaces. They know their days of impunity are numbered. They know that Harry's courage is inspiring others to speak up, to push back, to demand better. And think about this for a second. If the British press is capable of targeting someone like Princess Kate, who they claim to adore, then what won't they do? What else are they hiding? This isn't about one journalist or one story. It's about a culture of intrusion that has infected the entire industry. This is why Harry's fight matters. It's not just royal drama. It's a battle for truth. It's about dismantling a toxic system that profits off pain. It's about holding power to account, even when that power wears a crown. The court might have blocked the Kate hacking claim, but that doesn't mean the truth will stay buried forever. Because history has a way of catching up with liars, and the same media empire that spent decades humiliating others will one day face the humiliation of its own exposure. Prince Harry is relentless, he's principled, and he's not backing down. Every step of this journey has proven that he's the only one in that family brave enough to stand up and say, "Enough." Meghan stands beside him, just as strong, just as determined, and together they're rewriting what accountability looks like. No matter how many times the establishment tries to silence him, Harry's message is clear. The days of unchecked tabloid power are ending. The walls of deceit are cracking, and whether it happens in this courtroom or the next, the truth will come out. And that's why the Sussex Squad stands with him. Because every time they try to bury the truth, Harry and Meghan rise higher. Every time the tabloids smear them, their light shines brighter. Every time the system says too late, the world says not anymore. So, to everyone who still believes in integrity, who still believes in justice, who still believes that no one, not even the British press, is above the law, this is your reminder that the fight continues. Harry's courage is exposing an empire built on lies, and his victory will be won for every person who's ever been silenced by power. Because when all is said and done, truth always wins, and that's exactly why they fear him. Music swells softly. So, family, if you stand with Prince Harry and Meghan, if you believe in what this fight represents, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Royal Sussex Squad, and tap that notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you want to keep this channel strong, hit that super thanks button or join our Patreon. Every bit helps us continue exposing the lies and celebrating the truth. Princess Kate phone hacking claim blocked from Prince Harry court case. The Prince and Princess of Wales were dragged into the Duke of Sussex's legal feud. An allegation that Princess Kate's phone was targeted by a private investigator will not be included in the upcoming legal case brought by Prince Harry and others against the publisher of the Daily Mail, a High Court judge has ruled. The Duke of Sussex is one of 7 prominent figures taking action against Associated Newspapers Limited, ANL, the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. The group, which also includes Sir Elton John, Baroness Doreen Lawrence and Liz Hurley, allege that the company engaged in unlawful information gathering, such as hiring private investigators to install listening devices, obtaining private records through deception, and intercepting phone calls. ANL strongly denies the accusations and has described the claims as lurid and simply preposterous. At a preliminary hearing earlier this month, lawyers for both sides returned to the High Court in London ahead of a full trial scheduled for January 2026. During the hearing, David Sherborne, representing the claimants, said a record from a private investigator allegedly showed a journalist commissioning him to carry out a mobile phone conversion related to the Princess of Wales, along with a list of family and friends' contact numbers. In a written ruling on Friday, Mr. Justice Nicklin rejected the attempt to add this new allegation to the case. He said, If the amendment were allowed, it would open up a significant new area of investigation for Associated, and it is too late given the proximity of the trial date. Anthony White, KC, representing ANL, had additionally asked the court to strike out allegations that two Mail on Sunday journalists burgled the home of Michael Ward in 1992 and stole documents. Mr. Justice Nicklin granted that request, ruling, even if proved true, they cannot assist in the fair resolution of the claimant's claims. It is not alleged that this incident has any connection with any claimant or any pleaded journalist. In his 16-page decision, the judge said dealing with that allegation had become extremely complex and an involved sideshow. He continued, "The events took place over 30 years ago. This is not a small area of the case. It is now a substantial dispute of fact. Put bluntly, it has become a complex and involved sideshow." Lawyers acting for the claimants, who also include David Furnish, Sadie Frost and Sir Simon Hughes, are expected to appeal against the decision, arguing that it is wrong in fact and in law. Mr. Justice Nicklin also ruled that the trial will not seek to determine whether alleged unlawful practices were widespread within the company. He said, quite simply, establishing whether unlawful information gathering was widespread and/or habitual at Associated is the territory of a public inquiry. It is not necessary to determine that issue for the fair resolution of the claimant's claims. He added that any allegations which are not relevant and probative would be excluded to prevent the proceedings from becoming an uncontrolled and wide-ranging investigation akin to a public inquiry. However, the judge said the claimants may rely on previous examples of alleged unlawful activity by journalists while they were employed at other publications. During the two-day hearing, the court also heard a separate claim that details about Prince William's 21st birthday party may have been obtained by a private investigator through blagging. In written submissions, Mr. Sherborne said invoices disclosed on September 24th included one related to the Prince of Wales. We'll be back soon with more updates, more analysis and more truth.
A safer world is possible,
Royal Sussex
and together
Squad,
we can
don't just
and will
watch the
make
story,
it happen.
we reclaim it. Stay strong, stay smart and stay Sussex proud. Because no matter how loud the lies get, truth always has the last word. Outro music fades out.